related to the development of large natural resource projects, laws like Bill C-5. So we lift up, we see First Nations that are united across this country, and they are united behind all of you. I'm just gonna close off, and I know there's lots. I want to thank my staff, but I just want to say we must honor the calls to action in this country. We're going up to 10 years this December, and we have to figure out as a country how far we have come and how far we have to go. And so I'm going to say, let's kill Bill 5 and let's stand together. And with that, I'd like my colleague here to say a few
words. National Chief Woodhouse and I have taken over the podium. First she speaks, then she invites me to speak. That's quite all right. It's been a long time since I've been to a gathering such as this one, a rally, our dying commitment to protection of the land and our resources, our water, and our sovereignty. It never grows old, these rallies. They never grow old. They're absolutely immediate and pressing that we all gathered today to fend off all attempts by governments, the land, federal government, provincial governments, and territorial governments, as they proceed with demolishing our rights and interests to the land, bulldozing, as they say, development. That is not the way we build a country, for one thing. That is not the way to honor the First Peoples. First Peoples have a distinct and unwavering right to all of the land from coast to coast to coast. This is our land, right? Our water, our resources, and we must do all we can together, as we are here this afternoon, to take action to protect these very important and distinct rights. Absolutely, we have a responsibility to the coming generations to do all that we can to mobilize our peoples to stand with us, to do the right thing for the future of our peoples, indeed the country. And we must do as other governments have done. I urge the National Chief to convene an emergency meeting of leadership in the country, First Nations leadership, and bring forward a list of demands that we will place before the governments, provincial and federal government, in the same way that Premier Daniel Smith has done so very effectively. And she forced the Prime Minister to meet her on her terms. And that is something that we have to do as well. As long as I don't swallow the mic, I'm supposed to speak closer to the mic. But anyway, I think it's absolutely important, it's urgent that the National Chief convene this gathering. And there's absolutely no reason, for example, she pointed this out, that we were excluded from the gathering in Saskatoon. We will be excluded from the G7 gathering in Kananaskis. In fact, we're being excluded from all the very important discussions that are being held by the governments that are supposed to represent us as well as the rest of the country. And so we have to take matters into our own hands, and we will do it in the kindest way possible, but in a very determined way to express once again who we are, the First Peoples, treaty people that distinct rights that obligate governments to consult with us, both as a legal responsibility or obligation, but as well a moral obligation. And this is something that we have to teach governments of the land, what we mean when we say a moral obligation, because they're being absolutely immoral the way they're conducting business. Anyway, thank you very much. I should tell you, I came here for coffee, right? I was just going to visit Queen's Park, and then my nephew Jerry, who works for the city hall, said, "Hey, come and join the rally." And anytime anyone says rally, I'm there, right? A rally. Right, a rally. As I said, rallies never grow old. Never grow old. And I urge you, I give you my support, and all of the blessings I can convey to you, all of you, that good will come from this gathering. Miigwech.
All right, let's give a round of applause to the National Chief and Phil Fontaine. Not all enemies. We do have some friends there. Some friends that are respecting our rights as Indigenous people, that are working alongside of us to do what's right. And we have some of our own people there. Debwewin, truth. This morning, in the debate, one of our MPPs that represent us so well, Saul Mamakwa, he was asked to leave. He was asked to leave. He was asked to leave because he spoke the truth. We know now for sure, with no uncertainty, that the house behind us has no room for truth. It has no room for honor. We're not going to put up with this anymore. We are idle no more. Our next speaker, I have some mad respect for this man. He goes in fighting against the current every day on behalf of all of us. Let's give it up for Saul Mamakwa.
Miigwech, Kakanahuma Gayayek. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I know many of you have traveled long distances to be here. I have my colleagues from the NTP caucus joining with me to stand with me. This morning, I was told to leave the legislative chamber. What that means is I cannot enter the chambers for the rest of the day. As you know, it was just because that I told the legislature that the Premier was telling untruths when he says the government respects treaty rights and First Nations. They asked me to withdraw my comment because the Premier and this government need to be held accountable for their fabrications, for their untruths about respecting our treaty rights and Aboriginal title. The people, especially First Nations, deserve transparency. First Nations rights holders, have told us that they don't want Bill 5. And of course, you are telling us, you don't want Bill 5. We know our rights are not for sale. And most importantly, our lands are not for sale. We have asked the Premier to rescind Bill 5. This government can't say that they understand and respect treaty while they do the exact opposite of what First Nations, the rights holders, are asking. That is purely not honest. In reality, the reality is that this government is violating the treaties by pushing Bill 5 through and their treatment of rights holders. Last week, First Nations rights holders have said that the last-minute changes are not sufficient. The duty to consult is a bare constitutional minimum. The principles of free, prior, and informed consent are enshrined in international laws and not respected by this government behind me, in words and in action. So, what will happen next in the coming days? Tomorrow, we are back in committee. We will debate the bill clause by clause or section by section. We will also consider amendments to the bill. This government had to reschedule clause by clause because of our own successful filibuster last week, where we slowed down the process. Only this time, they're severely limiting debate because their focus is pushing this bill through by Thursday instead of listening to First Nations or Ontario as a whole. After it passes at committee stage, the bill will come back to the House for the last stage of the legislative process, the third and the final reading. I'm assuming it will probably be on this coming Thursday, which is the last day of the legislative session. This government is also limiting debate at this final stage to 1 hour because their goal is to pass Bill 5 into law, regardless of what the rights holders are saying. They are choosing to disrespect our inherent rights. They're choosing to disrespect our treaty rights, our Aboriginal title, and the honor of the Crown. Because the government has a majority, this bill will almost certainly pass into law this coming Thursday. We cannot allow this government to divide us. Just like today, we need to keep joining together and stand up to this government. As former chief of Niskandaga, Chris Mooney has said, we will oppose this bill publicly, in the media, in the courts, in the boardroom, when it comes to be on the land. We will be there. I promise you that. will continue resisting the colonial ways of this government with every possible avenue. Because as stewards of our lands and our ways of life, we have a sacred obligation to protect our homelands and our inherent and treaty rights. It is not only for today, but for generations to come. That's why we're here today. This is a big responsibility, but we are resilient. Miigwech to the rights holders who are here today, the leaders, the former leaders that are standing up against Bill 5. Again, everyone, we are the rights holders. We are all warriors. You are the warriors. Miigwech.
All right, let's give another big round of applause for Saul Mamakwa. So we're going to get into a little bit of our introducing some of our leaders and come up and say a few words. So if I can ask is Wichita Kavanaugh? Is he here? I haven't seen him. No, okay, we'll move over to next. I want to introduce the Anishinaabe Aski Nation Grand Chief Alvin Fiddler to come up and say a few words. Let's give him a big hand, please.
Miigwech for the beautiful prayers and the songs, the drum. Miigwech for this beautiful day, and miigwech to all of you for being here. My little brother Saul was trying to be very diplomatic when he said that Doug Ford has been speaking untruths. What he meant to say is that Doug Ford's a liar. When Doug Ford says that he's going to respect our rights and who we are as a people, he's lying. When he says he wants to meet with us to talk about this piece of legislation, he is lying. Because we've sent him invitations to come and meet with us in our territories, and he hasn't shown up. When he says that he's prepared to make amendments to this bill to accommodate our interests, he's lying. Because they are pushing this through as we speak. And if I were to talk to him right here, right now, I know he's not here. Right now, he's in Saskatoon, meeting with the Prime Minister and all the other premiers across this country to talk about our lands and our resources. And we are not there. Our national chief, while I'm grateful that she's here with us, she should have been there. But she was not invited. And I would tell Doug Ford that if you're so adamant about passing this bill, go ahead and do it. But know this, that it will have the opposite effect. It will not achieve what you think that this bill will achieve. Because we love our land too much and our children. And if you come up to our territory in your little tractor, you will be met by our people on the ground. And today, I'm wearing my KI6 shirt when Chief Donnie Morris and the Council of Ksudamek were put in jail 17 years ago for saying no to development in their territory. They were sent to jail. Sentenced to 6 months and served 2 months. Chief Donnie Morris, along with his whole council, including a female councillor, Cecilia Bagg. And this is where we are going with this bill. And I ask you, my relatives, my brothers and sisters who are gathered here, how many of you are willing to make that sacrifice? How many of you will be there with us when we stand up? One last thing about Doug Ford. When he said last week that we are a small, vocal minority group, he is lying. Look around you. There's many of us. There'll be more. And even after this bill passes on Thursday, we will carry on with this fight. And I know that you will be there with us. Miigwech.
Hello, bonjour. Nishkandagan Donji, Nishkandaga. On behalf of the members here with me, we've been threatened by both sides of the government, and we still oppose to stop Bill 5. I come today to speak on behalf of my community, on behalf of the animals, on behalf of the land defenders, our Anishinaabe people. We do not consent to the government to take and do whatever they want. Stop Bill 5. The chief today is not here. He lost a loved one, and today's the burial. So I wanted to say that we are praying, and our thoughts are with our community today. We live on the lake shore of Adwapaskat Lake, where we fish, where we gather, where we hunt, and where we collect our medicines. And they want to take that from us. No! Say no to Bill 5. And all of you today that are here, I'm honored and I respect all of you. And we want you to come and help us, help each other, because we need each other to face these things, these oppositions that we try, because the government never listens. No, why not? These are our future. This is our children that we're talking about. They need to prosper. They need to prosper in their own lands, their own culture, their language. We're not even there yet to reconcile with the government and the Canada. That's where they need to start. They need to start by respecting us. They need to start by knowing our treaties. Our treaties are a partner with the Crown, and they need to respect those things that we made with them. Relationship goes a long way, and I don't see that. We need to see that. And I would also like to thank for Saul for what he did today. Woo! Very honored to be here today and having this opportunity to talk on behalf of my community, Niskandaga. We oppose to the Bill 5, and we will stand until the end. We will stand with everybody that's going to stand with us. Aha, miigwech.
Miigwech. You know, it's been in our territory since we signed the treaty in 1850. It's been 175 years. And Mr. Ford over the weekend said that this bill is going to offer prosperity and a future for First Nations. And I asked him, why haven't we seen that for 175 years, and why should we trust you? They have done nothing in the entire Canadian history to give us any reason to trust them. And furthermore, when has Ontario become a nation? We have signed treaties with a nation-to-nation relationship. They are merely a province. We are nations. Next, I'm going to ask one of my colleagues, good friend, Ogamakwa, Shelley Moore Frappier from Temagami Bear Island, to come up and say a few words. Let's give it up for Shelley.
Miigwech, Kwekwe, Giweno Kwe na Dishnakasa Dikandodam, Tambagama Nishna Bay Kwe and Dao. It feels good to be here in unity, seeing all the red across the crowd as we stand here together in resistance. Bill 5 is more than legislation. It is history repeating itself. Once again, we see a government of the day attempting to sidestep First Nations. Once again, we see a government who is not bringing us to the table when they are talking about our resources, talking about our future. But if history teaches us anything, it's this. When governments try to silence us, First Nations rise. And we are rising right now. The honor of the Crown is at stake. The Government of Ontario holds a fiduciary duty to each First Nation, and that duty is not optional. It is a legal obligation. It is grounded in the Constitution, in Supreme Court rulings, and in basic principles of justice. In 1991, we were unilaterally adhered to the Robinson-Huron Treaty by the Crown. Prior to that, Ontario was building roads in our homeland, all while the question of Aboriginal title remained unresolved before the courts. Back then, Ontario steamrolled judicial processes to access our resources, and we stood up. And it seems that history is repeating itself. Ontario continues to move forward with disregard. Disregard for their fiduciary obligations. Disregard for the Supreme Court, because Temagami is still waiting for a fair process to define what the meaning of this treaty relationship. It's been 35 years and we still wait. Premier Ford, are you legalizing lawlessness? Is Ontario circumventing the Supreme Court of Canada? Premier Ford says he believes in collaboration. Well, we are all for collaboration too. That's called a nation-to-nation relationship. Because a nation-to-nation relationship is not telling First Nations what's going to happen. It's not rushing legislation that affects our lands, waters, and futures without free, prior, and informed consent. True collaboration means sitting down, listening, and building solutions together. Mamwe. Bill 5 bypasses environmental protections. It threatens the duty to consult, and it sets a dangerous precedent, not just for our people, but for everyone who believes in reasonable and responsible stewardship of the land. We are not anti-development. We are for development that is just, sustainable, and inclusive. Development that honors our treaties. And development that respects our jurisdiction and considers the long-term impacts on the land and our children's future. So today, to the Ford government, we say, do this right. You cannot build Ontario by bulldozing over the rights of its First Nations peoples. That is not a nation-to-nation relationship. That is colonialism. For all of you standing here today, your presence matters. Your presence matters. We are still here. We are watching. And we are not backing down. Say no to Bill 5 and say yes to nation relationship. Miigwech.
Miigwech, Chief. You know, been listening to the news a lot over the weekend, and Premier Ford was on the record saying, and he looked quite confused when he said this, but he said that today's provincial government, the Conservatives, is the best thing that First Nations have ever seen in the history of Canada. And he also said that Minister Rickford knows best because he lived on a reserve. He knows better than us. Well, we're here to tell them that they don't know better than us, and they're going to find out when they hit the ground and meet our people, our grassroots warriors. We haven't been here since time immemorial by chance. We are resilient, and we will continue to be here, and we will continue to fight. I would like to call up our next speaker, a friend of mine as well, Grand Chief Joel Abram from AIAI, to come up and say a few words. Let's give it up for our Grand Chief.
Saguli sagweg, te was lage ni yong yats otayuni ne vegetalono, onya da aga ne wagahonjoda. Kale Wakatsanuni, Ji Saguk, when he's Lade. Just introduce myself in my Oneida language. My Oneida name is Dewazlage. My GST name is Joel Abram. And here's my Deputy Grand Chief Stacia from Mohawk's Bay Quinte. And of course, we're here to say no to Bill 5. We know it's probably going to pass. But I can't understand the logic that's going on back there. Because we all watched Lion King. We know what happens when you don't respect the circle of life. Now, Premier Scar, he's trying to let his hyena cronies, corporate cronies, rob the land without any environmental protections. Trying to create special economic zones where a minister can say, do whatever you want. We have to think about the next 7 generations, not just the next 7 quarters. If our grandchildren can't drink the water, can't breathe the air, and their grandchildren can't do that, then we've done something wrong. He can't think about just today and tomorrow. He's got to think years ahead and preserve what's here for everybody. This all belongs to all of us. And that's not even talking about the First Nations issues, about disregarding our rights, the right to consultation, the right to free, prior, and informed consent. So you can be sure that we're going to fight this on every front. We're not going to give away our strategy right now, but you can sure it's going to be legal, it's going to be on the road, it's going to be in the bush, it's going to be wherever it has to be. And we can thank our allies that's here with us, that's concerned about the environment, concerned about that stripping away of those important protections. They should be strengthened, not weakened, certainly not eliminated. And I heard them in the papers the other day talking about creating, First Nations, we're going to give them First Nation economic zones. I'm sorry to tell you, but the whole damn country is a First Nation zone. You can't grant us rights. You can violate them, but we're going to fight against that every day of the week. But more than that, our Mother the Earth is the mother of all of us, and we have to do what we can. It's inherent in all of us, and our responsibility to protect us. I talked before, there was an old treaty in this area called the One Dish, One Spoon Treaty. And it was between the nations in this area. They agreed to share in the resources of the country back when the beaver hunting was happening. And so not only was an agreement amongst themselves to share the resources, and it was a spoon, not a knife, so there would be no cutting. And they would share that spoon. It was also a covenant with nature itself to preserve that for future generations so that it would always be there. And so this government has to respect that as well. They're part of that. Look at the wildfires out west. That's more evidence of climate change going on now. And it's going to make its way our way too. So I'm just here to support, do what I can to fight this bill, to speak out against it. He's saying that he did a lot of good for us because he put a lot of money in the form of guaranteed loans in their last budget. I say, sure, that's great, but that doesn't mean we're going to turn a blind eye. We're not going to shut up. We're not going to speak up. We're going to speak up when things are wrong and when they're violating rights and violating the Mother Earth. So thank you all for coming. And again, kill Bill 5.
I'm going to go on to our next speaker right now. He's a personal friend of mine. He's a leader. He's been involved, been a spokesperson for First Nations right across this country. He is currently one of the spokespersons for Wawindamagawin, the Robinson-Huron Treaty Association, treaty group that's here today representing the 21 First Nations of the Robinson-Huron Treaty of 1850. Let's give it up for Ogama Dean Sayers.
Oh, Anin! Minogi Jagat. What a beautiful day. Oh, come on, I'm going to go to opposite Dishnakas is my name. I am from the Crane clan. Ojibwe. Woo, any Ojibwe's out there? Any Muskego, any Cree out there? Ojibwe, Mohawks. Oh, there's so many of our beautiful nations that are represented out here today. Much like our history paints this land, we are from every corner of this land and we retain underlying title. I am so proud to be here helping spread some words on behalf of the 21 chiefs and councils on Lake Huron and parts of Lake Superior, and we give thanks for an opportunity to share our perspective in regards to the relationship that we have with the visitors to these lands. I want to acknowledge the beautiful ancestors that have joined us here today through spirit. This beautiful, the AIM drum is here. Welcome the AIM drum here, folks, today. The AIM Eagle staff, Tecumseh's staff is here today. Many beautiful eagle staffs and sacred items, and I'm so glad we had that grand entry to bring in our ancestral spirits with us today. I give thanks for this Sema, this tobacco that's going to help me share some things that I think we need to all remember. And as I was driving down here, I crossed the Severn River, and I recall our elders saying that's as far as we from our territories had promised to protect all of our relatives. That's how far we were going to contemplate decisions in the best interest of our inheritance. That's how far we were going to incorporate our thought, our ancestral messages into subsequent treaties. And they were telling me, those ancestors that are now passed away, our historic leadership, about those times when we went to treaty. They came to Baoting a lot of times for these treaty discussions. And one of the elders told me, he said, we came there in our canoes, and our canoes were so full that they barely rode above the water. And in our canoes was our people, yes, but just as important were the deer, the moose, the fish, the water, all of our relatives, our language, our law, our culture, our spirituality. Our land is so important. Those were the things that were in our canoe and more. Everything that we inherited that we would look after. And when they arrived in Baoting and Sault Ste. Marie, they saw those tall ships, those big ships that we saw them in prophecies that they were going to come. They said that there were going to be these ships that would come here that are big canoes that were pushed by the clouds. And I was thinking when the elder was telling me that, how could the clouds? But it was those tall ships. Be careful with those that you befriend on that ship, because they're going to have two faces. One's going to be your friend and one is going to be your foe. Be careful. And I think about that today as I think about Ford. Be careful, because he is not our friend, like he claims. Not our friend. As we went through these discussions, we made an agreement in witness of all creation. And we entered into treaty. And when we left our treaty discussions, the elder said to me, guess what we had in our canoe? I said, I don't know, elder. He said, we still had our land, our language, our law, our people. We had the deer, the moose, the fish, the water, everything that it was that we inherited. We still had a full canoe. And in their boat, we gave them a little bit. We gave them a little access to natural resources. We gave them some insights on how to live on our land, but we never gave them 100% of our inherent jurisdictions. Ontario does not have jurisdiction over the forest. Ontario does not have jurisdiction over the water. Ontario doesn't have jurisdiction over the legal systems. Ontario does not have jurisdiction over education systems. Ontario does not have any jurisdiction over policing systems. We still have the power. We were never taught in these foreign settler schools that you still have underlying title to these lands. And if treaties fail on these lands, the lands revert back to you. If they want to make decisions on these lands, consultation don't cut the mustard for me. Read my lips, Ford. We reserve the right to say yes or no to any decision on our lands. Let's start with the premise of consultation. It's natural to ask us what we think. Engage with us, sure, but we're not going to stop there. Once we decide that we've had enough talk, we'll decide whether or not that initiative goes forward. Not you as the foreign government. If things don't work out for you here, you can go back to England. Where are we going to go? We're going to be here. We're in charge. We're the first government. We delegated authority to them. They didn't come here with nothing. We delegated authority to them. And that's the way it still is. Our rights have never been extinguished. If you think you're gonna run ramshaw over us forward, you got another thing coming. We will stand up. We won't let you do what you say you're doing. You need our permission. Okay, folks? Stand up. Let's assert what we still have as a people. You're a beautiful, powerful people. Unextinguished, unsurrendered. We will be here as long as the grass grows and the sun shines. Miigwech.
All right, miigwech. So next on our leadership list, I want to call up a very dear friend of mine who is the Grand Chief of the Anishinaabe Nation. And I think she's here. Yes, here we go. Grand Chief Linda Demosgy.
Bonjour, Waseav Indishnakas, Sadik Dodem, Chiging Donjaba, Anishinaabe Kwe Ndao. I'm here today to not only talk about Bill 5, but to talk about the unity that we need together. When we are together like a braid of sweetgrass, we are strong and nothing can break us. We learn that through our teachings, through our knowledge keepers, through our Mishomis who's here today, who's ensuring that our message is heard and that is passed on to Creator. And when I look around us today, we are here because of our great-great-great-grandparents. Our ancestors are around us. We may not be able to see them. We've been delegated that responsibility to speak for those who can't speak for themselves. And as well to ensure that together we ensure that these governments uphold the honor of the crown. Take a minute to look around you. Look at the wealth that surrounds us in this space. That came from our lands, our resources, our ancestors. We've been through this before. And as our Getsit Council at the Anishinaabe Nation reminds us, the sleeping giant will awake. That sleeping giant is us. We carry the blood of our ancestors. We carry that knowledge, and nobody can take that away from us. We've been doing this for a long time. We've gotten a bit quiet. 55 years ago, the red paper policy was taken across this great nation to remind Canada and the government that they can't do anything without us, that we are here, that we have sovereign nations, that we have treaty rights. 38 years ago was Meech Lake Accord, when one man stood up for all of us. And you know what? We all have that power. Every single one of us. 35 years ago was Oka. 30 years ago was Ipperwash. 30 years, and not one recommendation has been fulfilled by this government. 10 years ago, Truth and Reconciliation calls to action, again, unfulfilled. When Ford expects Ontario to trust him, we as First Nations rise up and say we don't. Because everybody else is afraid to say it. Everybody else is afraid that something will happen to them, that this government will be vindictive. But our strength and our courage and our bravery doesn't come from this place or one man in there. It comes from our ancestors. It comes from our treaties. Today is day one. We've played their game. We went through their processes. We've listened to our citizens. to carry that message. Today is day one where all of us together, not only across this province, but we have to stand with our brothers and sisters across this country because the same things are going to be happening to them. Ontario, Saskatchewan, and Alberta have come to some sort of deal. And I'm sorry, and I'm always told to speak respectfully, but I would like to speak the truth. Last week, when Doug Ford said those who are in opposition of this bill is crazy, look who he's cutting deals with behind our backs, probably on behalf of us, without our consent. When we stand up, we not only stand up in this province, we stand up across this country supporting our brothers and sisters who are going through very similar things. And we know that these governments have kept us in poverty for one reason: to keep us quiet, to keep us busy in our communities, to ensure we forget and not pay attention as to what they're doing behind these walls, behind our backs, on our lands, to our people, and exploiting all of us. Today is day one. We've played their rules. They don't work. They don't listen. And Chief Scott is right when he says that the Anishinaabe did invite him to meet directly with our chiefs, and he declined. He had other important business to do, and now I know today it's to go cut deals behind our backs in a different province. I just want to say Chimigwech to everybody here. Never forget what our ancestors have done for us today, and that is still our responsibility, not just today, but every day going forward. And any attempt that this government or any government attempts to do on their own without us is the day we rise up. And we rise up today. Today is day one. It doesn't stop here. We need to keep this going. We may make them uncomfortable, and we need to know we're still here.
Miigwech, Grand Chief. So we are calling upon you now that this diplomacy has failed. We need to take action. Come Thursday, Saul has made it clear that it's moving to the next level and that we need all the grassroots people behind us. It's your turn to take the front line. Diplomacy is over. Now we must fight for our rights. And in that theme, I want to call upon some people to come to the center stage and share a few words, because they know what the grassroots movements are. So I'm going to ask Tori Kress, Suzanne Smoke, Patty Shanu, and Sabina Dennis to come up to the main stage. And I'll just ask you to introduce yourself and who you are representing, and say a few words and pass the mic to the next.
Anin Bojo, Nagonzakwe and Dishnakas, Wabjishi and Dodam, Anishinaabe, Badawadami Kwe and Dow, Chimnising and Donjaba. Thank you everybody for being here. My jail name is Tori Kress. I am I Don't Know More Ontario. Along with my colleague Linda Ba, who has since passed, started I Don't Know More Ontario. And I recognize many of your faces here. And I want to say Chimigwech to each and every one of you for coming and rallying with us. Every time I Don't Know More called, you came. You were here. You stood there. We've been decolonizing on a dime for over a decade now, my friends. We haven't stopped being the front line. And what do we want, folks? We want our land back. And when do we want it? Now. At the front line. I'm always there at the front line. That hasn't stopped. And I remember a day when my chief stood behind me when I was occupying land. When he went and did the diplomacy, he went and met with them, and now our community co-manages Springwater Park, which isn't the exact goal we wanted, but we're co-managers of our own land now. And we can do this together. We need the people like the chiefs to get behind us. Make sure we got firewood. Make sure we got water. Make sure we're being fed when we're out there making the sacrifice. Because we're gonna sacrifice our jobs. We're gonna sacrifice our time. Our family's gonna miss us. We're not gonna be there to be matriarchs because we're going to be on the land being the matriarchs we were meant to be. I'd like to welcome my colleague and kick-ass land defender, Suzanne Smoke. Miigwech.
I'd like to say that as settlers and this relationship with Canada came here, they forgot that as human nation, we are part of our environment. We are not separate from. What happens to the environment happens to us as the two-legged. As I look around, I see all of our magnificent Quayok, our life givers, our water carriers. Before that water comes first, that we're the only doorway with which that sacred life comes to the earth, that sacred water that flows through our veins as women, as Quayok, as life givers. Ford talks about bulldozing, and I think of our sisters that have fallen, our sisters that are missing, our sisters that are murdered. It's a direct relation to resource extraction when they're raping the land and taking the land. That's what they're doing to our women. So we are telling you, we are taking our land back. We are standing with our sisters. We will fight. We will be here. Canada, right now, we are part of the International Indigenous Peoples Forum on Plastics Pollution. We've traveled to Geneva, we traveled to Kenya, Nairobi, we sat in Ottawa, and Canada is negotiating a legally binding treaty with 175 other countries without the voices of Indigenous people, and we are pushing and knocking down doors all across the world to tell Canada that they do not speak for me, they do not step on my throat, to tell everybody that they can take our land from us. So stop Bill 5. We stand in solidarity with all of our relatives all across Turtle Island, and what happens to the land happens to us, and we will be here and we will fight.
Hari Sasta Keltne, Yinkadane, Sabina Dennis Sahadni, Laxilio Dasto. I came here from British Columbia, what they call now, it's Dakelt territory, Yinkadane, our Mother Earth, the mother of us all. I see our sacred drum of the aim is here. My father was a member of the American Indian movement back in the 70s, and we have not stopped. This grassroots movement has not had a break. We will never. Our children are being trained up at this time. I ask our brothers here, as we unify, to join me in drumming as I speak this prayer. If you have it in you to drum for me, and I speak our prayer to the people this day, the American movement drum, must see. Bringing that power to our nations through that beautiful sacred drum. I just have to say, on the Wet'suwet'en and Yintah, we've had 3 militarized raids. And I see what is coming. I see what they have planned in store for us. We need emergency, nation-to-nation emergency response plans. Our nations need to do that on their own. We don't need to rely on anyone. The accountability of the federal governments, provincial governments, that does not exist. They do not know the meaning of respect to our belief. Wagis, we treat everyone equal, every being on this planet. And we know, as these multi-millionaires come in and try to take all our resources with no regard for any life whatsoever. This is just a continuation from the beginning. And we need to teach our brothers and sisters. Each and every one here is a leader. You go out on this day forward. You speak about the rights of each of you, each of your children, of your animals, of the land, the trees, and we prepare. This is our time for preparation. There isn't much time left. So just know this. When it comes to our indigenous nations, no matter what, we stand with each other, nation to nation, from the east to the west, south to the north. And as mothers, as fathers, no matter what, our children will always be the heart and the center of life. No one can harm them. No one has any right to harm a child. And this has always been, accountability has been a part of our cultures. That is what is missing in Canada. But we must hold ourselves accountable, each and every one, for every moment. We are accountable for the animals. We are accountable to protect our children. Our nations have always held that. Our protocols and governance systems have always been in place from the beginning. Through all the Bachelot's bans, through all the smallpox disease, we are here to this day, and our grassroots children are being raised up. No matter how many chiefs they arrest, it'll only bring us closer. So remember, as these pains come, as we fall, those are reminders to us of how to do it right. We have to remember that our mistakes are our teachers, and that accountability comes from within. We do not depend on the government. We know what they are about. We know their meanings have more than one. Truth is not the truth when it comes to the government. Truth to them means something that can be manipulated, something that can change into something that benefits them. So I just want to stand here with you all today in unity, all the way from across ocean to oceans. Masi, you're all leaders, and I appreciate and love each and every one of you. Masi awetsa.
Boju, Ani, Segoli, Sego, and all of those greetings in our beautiful language. Boju Nindawe Maganadok, Kashkate Ganu, Nidishnakaj, Mashikadodam, Shani Ojibwe, Badawadami Nandao, Kikonong, Wikonong, Ajadana, and Donjaba, Nijo Medeo, Niswash, Kodekon, and Ishnabego Dishkodekon, aka Patricia Shani. Okay, so I'm here as a representative for all our ancestors. There were ancestors that fought for this place, which now they call Canada. There were ancestors that gave their lives for us to be here today. And I'm here to remind these ones in this matchbox back here, and also our chiefs, to keep fighting and to remind them, if it wasn't for Tecumseh, this would not be called what they call now Canada. If it wasn't for the War of 1812, they would not be sitting on these lands. Their biggest fight for us was that we would be here 7 generations from now, and that we would be raising our children and our grandchildren for the next 7 generations from today. So we continue that fight. We continue that struggle. We go out on the front lines, and we need the support. We need us to stay together, because that was his fight. That was his fight, to unite all the tribes and stand for that change that was coming. For them trying to take even more land, for our relatives that live across that creek. We never made it, Canada and the United States. They did, at the expense of our relatives that died and gave their lives up in that sacrifice. and I will not have them forgotten. I will not have them forgotten. Abawadiak, Pontiac, Chief Tecumseh, Shingones, Little Turtle, all of our leaders. We call out those descendants that carry that intergenerational trauma, that carry the stories. This is the time. They're trying to make their final scoop from us. They're trying to take their final stamp on the lands that the Creator gave to us to watch over and protect. It wasn't about all these lines and square boxes. They built their houses on square boxes. They did that. Ours is a circle of life. We are connected to everything in that circle. We're connected and have a relationship to everything. They're the ones that are coming to us now. What do I do? Well, if you keep listening to this guy, you're gonna be totally screwed. Your great-grandchildren is gonna be coming and asking for a drink of water. But by then, these governments, it's gonna cost, our elders say, for 1 ounce of water is gonna cost a lot, like an ounce of gold. That's what they think. It's all about money. It's all about money. So I want to remind all of us that stand here, when we have to go out there and put up roadblocks, support us. Stand with one another, because there's a lot more of us than what's here. I want to tell you, my brother, Dudley George, didn't die in vain. He lived with me and my family for 13 years before he picked up that bundle in Stony Point. He was the first Nishnab in I don't know how many years, but 30 years this come September, that's his Memorial Day. They still kill our people in this, what they call Canada. So when you pick up that bundle and you stand there as a warrior, you stand there to defend our water, our people, our children, our grandchildren, and all the greats. You think about those ones that already made the sacrifices. My brother Dudley, our brother Dudley, he changed legislation clear across the board. Because of what they did, they said, oh, we'll give you 100 recommendations. Where are we on that checklist? Where are we? Many of you were at that burial. They have a fiduciary responsibility and a duty to consult with us over everything. That's his message. So I can go on and on and on, but I just want to say I'm happy to stand with all my relatives here today. And let's remember the work of our ancestors. Let's remember, because at our kitchen table, there wasn't no talk about no treaty. It was, what if they were still here, what would they be doing? Tecumseh never signed no treaty. The only hands-on he ever had on a treaty was the knife he put through it when they wanted him to sign it. But here we sit, dealing with the treaties and the promises that they made us. So we gotta make them accountable, or they can get an eviction notice and go back where the hell they come from.
Whoa. All right, let's hear it for the grassroots organizations that came here today. All right, next I want to call up on our youth to come up and say a few words on behalf of the Indigenous youth in Ontario. Guys, come on up. I'm going to pass the microphone to Tara Roy, who's going to introduce the speakers.
Chimigwachka, Aninga Kinawea, Manadmat Ko Indigenous cause, Mayangan and Dodam, Gitchimanemni Sing, Minwanabi Sing, Donjaba, Severn Dindamigwa. I'm from Beausoleil First Nation and Nipissing First Nation. I have some words I prepared for you today that I will be sharing. should my phone allow me to unlock it. It's like, danger, stranger here. No. So my name is Tara Roy from Beausoleil First Nation, and I stand here not only as a young person, but as a voice for our youth, our women, and our ancestors. As a representative alongside our leadership, I carry the weight and responsibility to speak truth to power. Bill 5 is a direct attack on our rights, our waters, and our lands. It erodes environmental protection, silences our voices, and pushes us further from the path of reconciliation that this government claims to walk. A very big claim on their part. This bill ignores our inherent jurisdiction and threatens the future that we are trying to protect, not only for ourselves, but for our children and our 7 generations that are to come. It's not just about us here today in this park. We're protecting our lands for our nations, for our people who call this land home. We're not just stewards of this land. We are the land. This is our responsibility. This is our right. Our laws, our responsibilities, and our sovereignty must be respected. We will not be pushed aside. You can't push us aside. You can't push us out of the way. You've seen what we're capable of, and we're not afraid to show up and to be loud about it. You see all this beautiful people here today. We're not afraid. We will not be quiet. We will continue to resist, to protect, and to rise. And so I say, kill the bill. Kill Bill 5. It's not our way. Friend from Man, Ramon, to share a few words. Do you want?
Wache, Miswe, Ramon Karakwapit, Nishnakazawin, Aroska Toshtin, Mikiso Totem. Hello everyone, I'm Ramon Karakwapit, and I'm from Aroska First Nation, and I'm Eagle Clan. And I'm a youth council member with OFYPC and Anishinaabe Aski Nation. And I'm here to represent my people, the Mishkegawak, here against Bill 5. Now, Bill 5, when talking about that, also includes the Ring of Fire, which is very prevalent in our First Nations territory up there in the James Bay region. And we have a history of mining in our own community, Awabska, of how they not only let our agreements down, the impact benefit agreements, poisoned our land, but lied to us. And that money that was promised to us has been in a trust fund for a long time now. So essentially, that land was taken from us. And we've been in a long fight for the last 10 to 15 years in the ATR process to get that land back. And we're completely against Bill 5. And I want to represent Arobska here, the descendants, the treaty signatories, my people, my parents that are in the crowd, my mom right there. We're completely against Bill 5. And I also think about the spirit of the land at this time. Of course, communities that have, that want to do development, that should be allowed for them to have free and prior and informed consent. But there are also communities that are completely against development because of that stewardship that we've been holding since time immemorial. And I want to protect that land because that's where I came from. And that's where my ancestors came from. That's where my Mushum sustained himself. That's where my Jaban sustained himself. And that's where my uncles and cousins sustained themselves right now. They go out every single day, if not every single week, to go check out that Ring of Fire. And this Bill 5 is definitely connected to this. And I want to protect this land for my future generations, for my children, my children's children. I'm glad to see everyone here together. And I heard one of the grassroots mention Tecumseh, Chief Tecumseh, the warrior that Wichita, to bring everyone together, his people. And I see that here. It is more than just a person, it's an energy. That's what Tecumseh is. And that spirit is very alive in every single person here. And I'm so proud that our people have come together to stand against this Bill 5. Kill Bill 5.
We have another youth speaker here with us today, Briar Rose from Long Lac First Nation. Welcome, Briar.
Ani Bojo, Nigo Sadishtakas Mangdo Dem. Hi everybody, my name is Briar Rose. I'm here on behalf of Eshkanijik Nandwich Gegamik Kapish Kabenjabayan, which is also known as an Egbi. I am the youngest director overseeing our Toronto chapter, and I'm here to speak for my peers and with my peers and stand with my communities. This bill does impact my community, Long Lake First Nation, and we aren't for sale. And it's something that I can say on behalf of the youth that are reclaiming our teachings, reclaiming our ceremonies, and reclaiming the land of our ancestors, that we are not for sale. We say no to Bill 5. And so if you are a youth within the city of Toronto, an Egbi will always be your home, but we are going to stand up together to say no. But that's all I have to say. Miigwech, everybody.
Miigwech, let's give another big hand for the youth. That's the future right there. That's the future. Okay, I'm going to call up on another one of our Ogimakwe of Amjanong, Namibin. Ogama Namibin. Oh, here we go. All right, let's give a big hand for Ogimakwe.
Ani Kanawea, Ogamamas Gunwood, Kweni, Indigenous Cause, Makwa, and Dodamam Janang, and Donjabanishna by Kweni down, Queen West Swesh, Good and Inda. Hello, everybody. My name is Chief Janelle Namaben. My spirit name is Red Cloud Woman. I'm the Chief of Amjanong First Nation, located in Sarnia, Ontario, on the outskirts. Where we live is heavy industry. Where 40% of Canada's petrochemicals come from. So does this bill impact us? Yeah, it does. It absolutely does. We're the example of what happens when government approves industry and business instead of protecting the health and the well-being and the ways of life of our people. And it's unfortunate that, I have to be here 7 generations after, my relative Tecumseh. And here I am saying the same thing, Gaween. No, we're not gonna sit back. We're not gonna allow government to make decisions that impact our way of life, our community, and our people. And I don't know about you, but when we had our Ogichida-Kwea up here, I felt that bubble inside me that we need to mobilize. So in the event that Bill 5, if it moves through, then please know that Ogichida-Kwea, I'll always stand with yes. We're stronger together. And to all the young people that are here and the folks that brought their babies, their children, thank you for bringing them here so they can see what it means to come together and collaborate in a good way. And to our knowledge keepers, the ones that hold the wisdom, I appreciate your presence here, and I'm glad that you're here. I wanted to acknowledge our drummers, so if we can just give a for our drummers here, appreciate you being here. And our sacred items that are here, and all the people that made today happen, and all the quick mobilization. But we're stronger when we're together, so I'm glad that we're all here and sharing this space. And to Doug Ford and Minister Rickford and Minister Lecce, Gaween.
Gawin. No, we don't support Bill 5 and we all say Gawin. Miigwech.
All right. What a great day this has been, showing our solidarity, standing shoulder to shoulder, like we've always done since time immemorial. We're sending a strong message today. We're putting Doug Ford on notice that we are not going to stand for any legislation that waters down our treaty-protected rights. On Thursday, you heard Saul say that it's probably going to be passed on Thursday. Let's be clear to Doug Ford right now that if he pulls the trigger on this bill, he's pulling the trigger on Idle No More 2.0. As I said earlier, diplomacy is out the door. Now we're calling on our grassroots people to stand up and do what you do best, and that's fight for our rights. So pay attention, everybody, pay attention. And on Thursday, excuse me, sir. On Thursday, we will get the answer on what the intentions of this government is. We will know what to do, and know that your leadership stands behind you. Know that we will be there on the front lines with you. So let's say no to Bill 5, but also remember, let's do it in a good way. Let's call on our ancestors. Let's use our medicines. Let's use our teachings, and let's defeat them and kill Bill 5. Come up and speak. She has a few words, and then we're going to go into a couple songs. And if the mood strikes for a round dance, let's occupy this land.
Miigwech that so many people have come here today to be called out as such a last-minute call, but it's important. I sit as female elder with IFN, and I sit on the Knowledge Keepers Council with Chiefs of Ontario. So I was asked to come up to kind of open the dancing portion with regard to the round dance. So just to share some words on the round dance. So I guess we're going to do a two-step. So we're calling on any of the side steps. Sorry, not two-step, side step. Calling on the jingle dancers to lead that, and actually anybody else that wants to join in. But we'll ask the jingle dancers to come and lead the side step. So what we're doing when we dance in this way is the jingle is a healing dress. So we're asking for our ancestors. We're joining in with creation and the land because we need to call on the spirits of our ancestors and who we are today to move forward into the future so that our descendants can know what that spirit is. So when we come together, we're going to have the dancer, the center circle is going to be moving in that clockwise motion. We're also going to ask the men to join, but on an outer circle, and you're going to go clockwise. Counterclockwise, sorry about that, counterclockwise, because that's going to be that protection. In our teachings, we have the men that provide that outer circle, and they protect the sanctity, the love, the children, the women, the elders that are inside the circle. So if you'll join us for this two-step jingle dance. Oh, here we go. Something must be wanting to do a two-step. Angela, are you going to lead a two-step? No. Sorry. Side step. So I don't know where they're starting. Over here? Okay, we have a jingle lead dancer that's going to be here. If everybody would like to join in with her, and any jingle dancers to come up and join.
Bonjour, Kinawaya, Opshko Miigwech Laurie, Knowledge Keeper Laurie of Chiefs of Ontario from Saugeen First Nation, Independent First Nations. We're going to ask everyone to push out a little bit, please. We have traditional eagle staffs. Please keep guard of those. Be mindful of those staffs. Okay, they're watching them. So if we could push out a little bit, and then we'll make a circle around. Again, this really is about dancing for our nations and our ancestors and Dinaway Maganaduk. And we're dancing for all of our relations. We're dancing for all of our people, our leaders, our chiefs, for our leadership in government like Saul, and those are allies who are helping us out. And we're dancing for our 7 generations coming. We're asking in Dinaway Maganaduk, our relatives, our ancestors that came before us, to come with us and join us as well. So, as we know, dancing is life, dancing is medicine. We asked a jingle dress dancer who showed up here today with her good medicine dress. That was a gift from the Ojibwe, Anishinaabe, to our nations. And this represents healing, but within healing comes health, and we need good health to fight this good fight, this strong fight. And so that's what we're doing here today. We're going to do 2 songs. We're going to ask the jingle dress dancer to go first, and everyone follow her. And then a couple of the men or some of the Ogichda Kwewak can go on the outer circle counterclockwise as well, if you wish. Again, miigwech, and then we're going to close up with a traveling song for everybody who traveled here today, for safe travels back home, and to guide and protect you as you do this work, and for the chiefs to back you, and to all of us work together. Miigwech. The AI Iroquois Association of Iroquois and Allied Indians, Grand Council Treaty 3, and the Independent First Nations. Miigwech to everyone who came, the Knowledge Keepers, Chiefs of Ontario Knowledge Keepers, and all the Knowledge Keepers from other PTOs and the elders that came, the speakers, and for bringing all your bundles here today. This is really important work, and thank you to this beautiful drum. Thank you for all the Ogichda, the Ogichda Kwewag, our Ogima Kwewag, our Ogimag, and our national chiefs, and our Ontario Regional Chief for being here, supporting us. Miigwech to Saul Mamakwa and all our allies who are with us today. So we wish you all safe travels back home. Please be good and kind to each other. Stay strong and reach out to your leadership, your communities. Let's stay united, and we're going to close with this traveling song for a safe journey back home. Miigwech.